What's going on, guys? Satsuki the Savage here, and today I'm going to be reviewing One Piece, chapters 924 through 926. Alright, so this review this time around is going to be different from my typical One Piece reviews because first, the editing isn't going to be sharp at all. One, I'm lazy. Two, I'm having to catch up with these last three chapters, so I don't want to waste time editing it. I just want to get this done because I've been slacking on One Piece, partly because Hunter x Hunter comes out, or it came out the same day, which is a bitch because Hunter x Hunter used to come out on Wednesdays and that made everything much easier. But now that Hunter x Hunter is on hiatus, so you guys can go in the comment section and troll. Now that it's on hiatus, I have more time to focus on One Piece. So starting in order with chapter 924, we have Law and Hawkins who are fighting because this is the chapter after Luffy got his ass whooped by Kaido, alright? So Law is trying to figure out a way to save Luffy, and of course that shit didn't work. And something interesting during this fight between Law and Hawkins is Hawkins shoots a sea stone nail at Law. And we've never seen sea stone be crafted like that, as small as that. And we found out in that chapter that sea stone originated in Wano, so we can probably expect to see more weapons just like how Hawkins used, and that's going to be pretty deadly because I'm pretty sure that sea stone is going to end up in the Straw Hat's hands some way, somehow. And if that is used against Kaido's army, it's going to be much more deadly because we know one of the assets that Luffy is going to have is Tama, alright? Because Tama's power has been shown to tame Speed, so much so that Speed got her ass whooped by Kaido. That's how loyal Speed is with Tama's power. So Tama's power is going to play a role. This Sea Stone is going to probably play another role in taking Kaido's army, his Smile army, down. So it will be cool to see guys like Frankie, Usopp especially, like, yeah, and Nami utilize weapons like that. Something that I found interesting in the fight between Luffy and Kaido is Kaido seems to respect Luffy's strength. Even though he insulted him by calling him a brat, he still wants him to be a part of his army because above all else, Kaido respects strength. That's what it seems like. And you may think, yeah, of course he respects strength. Like, but in the previous arc, we seen Big Mom and her group of pirates, although they are strong, she herself doesn't value strength, really. She values diversity in her group, I guess you could say, although she hates giants. Like, she wanted to have Brook on her side, not because he was strong, just because she was like, oh shit, a walking, talking skeleton motherfucker. Like, yeah. So I just found that interesting that Kaido seems to be willing to break enemies just so he can recruit them for their strength. Luffy got his ass locked up like I said he would, in a cell right next to Kid. But before that, when Luffy is walking to his cell, we see somebody and we don't get to see their eyes, and we see the same guy in chapter 926. This guy spits a fishbone at one of the guards, and the guards don't know who he is at all. So much so that they started a rumor that he might not even be human, and they're feeding him the poisonous fish. So it's like they're like who the fuck is this guy? And if I had to speculate, I'm speculating that it's one of the two samurai, or one of the three samurai that Kinemon mentioned, because he mentioned Kawamatsu, Denjiro, I believe that was his name, and Ashura Doji. And we found out in this chapter that Ashura Doji is Shanten Maru. So we already have one of the samurai. We just have to find the other two. But going back to my point, it would make sense if these guards didn't know who he was, if he did serve Oden, because remember, Oden was empowered 20 years ago, and I'm pretty sure Kaido got all new people working for him. So it would make sense why these guards don't know somebody from 20 years from the past, especially when they believe them to be dead. I also feel like a guy we seen earlier in Wano, Hitetsu, you know, the guy who was taking care of Tama, I feel like he is one of the three samurai that Kinemon mentioned, possibly Denjiro, if not Komatsu, because if you remember, Hitetsu was talking about how he was staying in the same place waiting on somebody. Who that somebody is, we don't know. But if he does have ties to Kinemon and everybody else, then it will make sense for him to be waiting on them. Now, we didn't get to see if he had the crescent moon tattoo thingy on his leg or not, so I have to check back and look at that. But in my opinion, he has to be related to Oden in some capacity. And I don't mean related by blood, I just mean have a relationship with him. Either he's, as he said, just a simple blacksmith for Oden, or was a former blacksmith for Oden, or, like I believe, a samurai that served under Oden. The last thing that I want to mention in 924 is the Straw Hat's reaction to Luffy getting his ass locked up. Because with Usopp, we expect him to make that face. He's done it plenty of times. With Frankie, we expect it because he's a goofy character. Zoro, I think he just spit out his food. And Zoro is just fucking damn. He like really needs a GPS or some shit. Even though he still wouldn't use it properly. But Robin's face. And like, I don't need to talk about it extensively because I know everybody else has when this chapter came out. But I'm pretty sure nobody expected Robin to make a face like that because she hasn't done it. I mean, the only thing that's comparable to the face she made in chapter 924 is when in Dressrosa she was surprised at how naive the Tontadas were. And maybe you could say that face that she made all the way back in Thriller Bark, but like I said, nothing compares to what she did. The fucking a nail face, like perfect by Oda. Moving on to chapter 925. Now, I'm not going to talk a lot about this chapter, and not because I didn't like this chapter, because I really loved it, but because what happened in this chapter mainly were just epic appearances. We didn't really move the Wano story forward at all. I mean, we've seen King and Queen at the very end, but like I said, it was more of just seeing crazy shit. Like, we seen Blackbeard and his pirates. We seen fucking Gecko Moria. We seen Perona and Mihawk, and again, King and Queen at the very end of the chapter. Now, I have to address this complaint because I was going to do it talking about 924, but it will be more appropriate here. Oda, motherfucker, Ichiro Oda, you have to stop off-screening fights. You have to. Now, it's two sides to this because on one hand, I don't mind it sometimes. And the reason I don't mind it sometimes is because it keeps up the lore of these characters. It makes it to where we are left in the dark with how strong they really are, because once we actually see them fight, then we have the luxury of gauging their power and shit like that. I mean, One Piece isn't like Dragon Ball Z to where niggas have power levels, but you know, once we see the results of a fight, then we're like, okay, this character is stronger than this character, so that's where they rank in terms of strength. But when Oda off-screens fights and the results are left ambiguous, then we're like, okay, this guy fought with this guy, so maybe he's as strong or stronger or weaker than him. We don't really know. So it keeps up that lore. But he keeps fucking doing it. He keeps fucking doing it with characters that we want to see fight. Motherfucker, I want to see Dragon and the rest of the crew fade the admirals. I want to see that shit. We all want to see Kuzan, Aokiji versus Aki Inu. We want to see that shit. That's the fights we must see, and Oda keeps off screening. Like, no, bruh. No. Certain shit you can off screen. Like, the reason why I'm bringing it up here, and I wanted to bring it up in chapter 924, because we had a off-screen fight with Law and Hawkins. That's okay. That's okay, because I'm pretty sure Hawkins is going to be integral. He's going to play an important role later on. So, not knowing how strong Hawkins really is fine. right now. It's fine. But, oh, bro, it's already bad enough that we're skipping the reverie shit and then another off-screen fight. Like, why did you even mention that shit? It's like Oda is intentionally like just teasing us like, oh yeah, you know, I had these two characters fight in the background while you motherfuckers were masturbating to Nami and fucking Boa Hancock hentai. It's like, bro, like, show us the shit, all right? Show us the goods. But actually talking about the chapter, we see Gecko Moria run up on Blackbeard, which is pretty ballsy by Gecko Moria. It wasn't smart, but hey, I gotta give him props the same way I give Kid props for trying to fade Kaido. I mean, and shit, Gecko Moria did the same thing, now that I think about it. But yeah, Gecko Moria tried to run up on Blackbeard, and yeah, that didn't work out, did it? And we see that what is his name? Absolo, whatever the fuck his name is, Invisible Boy. All right, he died and got his fruit taken, and we still don't know how Blackbeard is doing this, and that's probably one of the most interesting things in chapter 925 is learning that Blackbeard stole another devil fruit. That was the most interesting thing to me, more interesting than King and Queen, because it's like, how the fuck is he doing this? And if he could just kill devil fruit users and shit like that. If I was Blackbeard, I would try to kill Sugar and steal her devil fruit, because her devil fruit is so hacks. And if it was in the right hands, man, that would be crazy. But Invisible Boy got his fruit taken, and Blackbeard gave it to Shiryu. Hold on, let me make sure I'm saying his name right. Fuck, where did I write this shit at? Goddamn. Oh yeah, Shiryu. I said it right. Shiryu. And now that he has the clear fruit, he, like, I had some time to think about this. Blackbeard could have gave him a better devil fruit than that. I mean, he's going to be deadly, but it isn't going to be that deadly, all right? Especially with people really adept at observation hockey. I'm pretty sure that they will still be able to hang with him even though he's invisible. So, like I said, it's not like bad that he has this devil fruit. I just feel like Blackbeard could have gave him something better. All right, that's just it. And speaking of Blackbeard, we finally see his post-time skip appearance, and he is looking more and more like an actual pirate. And to be honest with y'all, there was Team Shanks and there was Team Blackbeard. I was on the side of Team Shanks just because of what, you know, of how he curved everybody during Marineford. And if you don't know what curved means, that just means he pulled everybody's cards. He was like, if anybody wants to keep fighting, y'all can fight me and my crew. Like, what's up with that? And he curved Blackbeard. But we see that too, Billy Bounty. We see Blackbeard not giving a fuck. I was on Team Shanks. I got to hit a KD. I'm going into free agency and I'm moving on to ZZ. Like, my nigga, I'm going to Team Blackbeard. Like, I'm fucking with Blackbeard right now. I'm really fucking with Blackbeard. And also the fact that now Gecko Moria, either they're going to steal his devil fruit or he's just going to be recruited. Man, bro. It's so many possibilities. Like, people mention that, oh, maybe Blackbeard could bring back Whitebeard or something like that, which I kind of don't want to see that. But at the same time, it will be crazy to watch. But yeah, Blackbeard right now, he is just gaining more and more power. He's looking more and more dangerous. I'm sorry, I have to switch sides. We also see in this chapter Shantenmaru / Ashura versus Inuarashi. Now, this kind of fucked up the power scaling, or not fucked up the power scaling, but let's just say it was weird. And the reason why it was weird is because Ashira and Inuarashi, it seemed like they were fighting equally. Now, it could just be because, of course, I don't believe either one of them were fighting at their full strength because they know each other. So, of course, they wouldn't go all out and try to kill each other. But it's just weird because if we go back, we have Ashira who fought Jack and he beat Jack. I mean, they had a brief clash and they didn't finish the fight, but he was beating Jack. And then if we go further back, we have Jack who was beating both Inuarashi and Nekomamushi or Nikomamushi, whatever the fuck, Cat Viper, the cat motherfucker. In fact, no, Jack beat the minks in general. All right, so it's just weird that now the same guy who beat Jack is now fighting on equal terms with just Inuarashi. All right, and of course, like I said, it could be a tribute to the fact that they aren't fighting at their full power. All right, but again, it was just weird. Now for the last bits of chapter 925, we see King and Queen, and people have already speculated that Sanji is going to fight Queen and Zoro is going to fight King. Now, I'm buying this because this is something that Oda usually does. I mean, if we go all the way back, and this is going far back, but Sanji fighting Bon Clay and Zoro fighting Mr. One. I don't remember his actual name. Yeah, Oda typically does that. And also the fact that if Sanji does fight Queen, we already know his past with the actual drag queen. So I mean, that could just be the play on the names, but we'll see. Now, another thing I want to talk about is people were speculating that King is related to either Magellan or Shiryu, or both. That maybe he was like a warden in Impel Down. And in my opinion, it doesn't fucking matter. Like, it doesn't fucking matter. Like, whether King is related to Magellan or Shiryu, the reason why it doesn't fucking matter is because if he is, what is it going to change? It's not like Shiryu is going to pop up in this arc. It's not like Magellan is going to pop up in this arc. If Magellan does pop up in this arc, that would be some crazy shit. But it's like, all right. It's kind of like how we found out that Monet was related to Sugar. It's like, okay, cool, but it doesn't really change anything. So, you know, people were speculating on that, and I'm just like, doesn't really matter. I'm just worried about who he's going to fight. And lastly, we move on to chapter 926. Now, this chapter was a lot weaker than the other two chapters, a lot weaker. In my opinion, it was just an okay chapter. I mean, we moved the plot along, and it was one of those setup chapters. That's really what it was, because we see Usopp handing out flowers to samurai loyal to Odin. So that's, you know, it's just like we're setting the table. All right, we see Nami and Shinobu. They are getting information to steal some weapons, and of course those weapons are going to be given to the samurai that are loyal to Odin in this war against Kaido. So we're just setting up for shit. All right, but that's all we really did. And what I wanted to complain about was Sanji. This motherfucker, his captain is locked up currently. I mean, I know Nami is kind of fucking around because she's like with Shinobu on a kite escaping, and it's like, all right, it's like comedic. But he's not even following the plan. Like, bruh, your captain is locked up right now. He is in fucking prison getting his ass worked. Not really, but, you know, Sanji wouldn't know that. It's like, bruh, you really worried about bitches at this moment? I know that that's your nature, but come on, bruh. Your captain is locked up. It's time for your ass to stick to the plan and let's get it, all right? And now we move on to the second half of this chapter, featuring Luffy and Kid, your prisoners of 2018. And we knew Oda was going to do this with Kid, all right? Or most of us knew Oda was going to do this with Kid. the first time we seen Kid, he seemed so serious. He seemed like an actual pirate. And we expected this from Kid, what we seen in this chapter, because if Oda did it with somebody like Law, because we seen Law make goofy faces, he was getting caught up in the Straw Hat's antics. If we seen that from Law, then we can of course expect it from Kid as well, because he had the big ass belly just like Luffy, showing that he is a glutton just like Luffy, and he also was playing along with Luffy's petty competitiveness, because he was like, I collected more rocks than you. Like, Luffy's like, fuck no, boy, you didn't collect more rocks than me. He was like, bitch, you can't even count. Like, it was like playful banter, and that made Kid seem more lighthearted and more human, I guess you can say. Moving past that, I seen this shit on Twitter. Somebody said Kaido has some Dollar Tree sea stone cuffs. Like, and I agree with that shit completely, because there's no fucking way Luffy and Kid should be carrying all those damn rocks with sea stones. Like, they should be like they should be weak in the motherfucking knees. They should be like they should be like limping like that with the sea stones on their wrists. But it's not even really affecting them at all. So Kaido, like, step your sea stone game up. Like, what the fuck? Do you need a smoker to come in here and, like, you know, rebuild these the cuffs or something? Like, come on, bruh, step your game up. But I guess that just shows you how strong Kid and Luffy really are. But that was just funny. We also see another Smile user who's a headliner. What was his name? Shit, I wrote that down too. His name was motherfucking Dobon. And he was... No. I thought Hold'em was bad with his Devil Fruit because he had the lion, like, right near his penis. But this dude... I don't even know what to say. It's like his body is inside the hippo's mouth. So the hippo can close his mouth. And he's like a Venus flytrap. And it's like... No, like, Kaido, what is wrong with your Devil Fruit users, bruh? Like, I would be mad disrespectful. I would be mad disrespected if I had a Devil Fruit like that. I would be like, Kaido, bruh, this Devil Fruit is shitty. Like, you for real about this shit. Like, I don't even really see how that dude could fight. But he ended up getting his ass whooped by Kid and Luffy, and all the prisoners were like, yeah, Luffy and Kid, you're the hope of this prison. And it's like, all right. This is another complaint I have. And the reason I have a complaint is, it was like cool to see Luffy and Kid do their thing and work together and all of that. But the problem I have is like a bigger picture. And it's the fact that these One Piece villains never seem to stay connected with the things that are important. And what I mean by that is, you have Kid, Luffy, and that guy whose face we don't get to see. They are locked up, and your purpose is to break them so you can bring them into your army. And there's no doubt, if you did bring them into your crew, they will be one of the strongest. So your priority should be to fucking break them. Kaido, break these motherfuckers. Alright? And it's like, these villains, they leave it up to somebody else to do important ass work. It's like, Kaido, put the fucking Henny down. Put the Hennessy down and, like, break these motherfuckers. Like, you could break them. Alright? I mean, Luffy isn't getting... He's not getting broken by anybody, but it's like, you should be the one trying to do that yourself. Instead, they wait all this time, and then the Straw Hats and whoever their allies are, they gain their power, and they in turn are able to fight whoever the big bad villain is. Like, the same shit happened with Doflamingo. Doflamingo literally hosted a Coliseum shit that he wasn't overseeing himself, in which he basically gave Ace's devil fruit to Sabo, and Sabo ended up using that shit against him. And it's like, motherfucker, like, some of this shit you have to oversee yourself. Like, that's just my opinion. I don't know. It's just like, yo, break these motherfuckers. That's what you should be trying to do. Especially the guy whose face we haven't seen. Because if he's been in prison for a long time, that means your ass hasn't broken his ass yet. And it's been a long time. So, break these motherfuckers. That is the quote. Hashtag break these motherfuckers. Now. But I guess that wraps up my thoughts on these last 3 chapters. If I had to give like ratings, I don't give number ratings for chapters, but I thought chapter 925 was easily the strongest out of the 3. It was a great chapter. Then 924, that was also a good chapter. That was a really good chapter. And 926, it was an okay chapter. I'm not going to be too hard on it because, I mean, like, I like the stuff with Luffy and Kid, but that was pretty much it. But I understand why we had this chapter, because we had to set shit up for a big payoff later on. So I'm okay with the chapter, but it wasn't anything that wowed me at all. But guys, that's pretty much it for my review on these last 3 chapters. If you like this video, like, comment, subscribe. Satsuki the Savage, out. Why must I be like that? Why must I chase a cat? Nothing but the dog in me. Why are you a dumbass? Why can't you make a fucking video without fucking up? Fuck it up, yeah. Fuck it up good. Niggas like to talk. Niggas like to talk up in the hood. Niggas like to snitch. Bitches like to bitch. But I keep that toolie like Lilo and motherfucking Stitch.